To be or not to be, that is the question. And the question is, why did I open with Hamlet when we're talking about Macbeth? Who knows? Welcome to It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. I'm Red Drum Arts.
Hi, my name is Patrick, and I like compare thee to a summer's day.
And I'm Lugia, and fuck.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a quote.
Have you not brushed up on your Shakespeare lately?
No, I'll be honest.
How
I don't
dare
really
you.
like Shakespeare.
My favorite Shakespeare quote is from Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet, where a character says, "Mercutio, hand me my longsword," and the longsword is just a machine gun with the name Longsword written on it.
That movie is so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's happening to some movie news.
Speaking of Baz Luhrmann, we got a teaser trailer for the upcoming Elvis biopic, which
And is
is
he
directed by
directing that
Baz
one?
Luhrmann.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, but this teaser, it is like 10 seconds long, and it's just a backshot of Elvis walking onto a stage.
So who's playing Elvis?
I don't remember, but I do know that his manager is played by Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So-
My favorite Elvis movie is Bubba Hotep with Bruce Campbell playing Elvis.
Austin Butler is Elvis.
Okay.
I don't recognize
yeah,
him.
not
I've never
familiar
heard
with
the
him,
name
but that'd be
before.
cool.
No, I just wanted to bring this up because I'm a huge fan of Elvis, and I'm very excited for this.
All right. Now time for the inevitable Spider-Man talk. We finally got the second trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. Showed off all the villains, so we got to see a better look at Electro's cool suit. People are pointing out some of the obvious edits that are making done. So people are like, okay, so there's clearly stuff they're trying to hide. We got to see full body of Green Goblin. Although we haven't seen Willem Dafoe yet, which is odd. We've seen the Green Goblin suit. Some people pointed out there's this one point in the trailer where you can clearly hear Tobey Maguire's voice, and despite all of this nostalgia bait, I'm for some reason not all that excited. I don't know.
To be honest, I look at this and it looks like a combination between Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 3. I say
Yeah.
Spider-Verse because, the different
Obviously, the
universes, and Spider-Man 3 because of all the villains.
And also Spider-Man 3 because
It's the
they're
third in
putting-
the
not just that, but the fact that they're putting so much emphasis on the Raimi villains, like Doc Ock is clearly the main villain of this, and it's just Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock, literally.
In the end, this movie is either going to be amazing or it's going to be disappointing.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of multiverses, Warner Bros. Fighting game.
Yeah, we talked about this a few episodes back, but that was just a rumor. Now it's
And
real.
now
Yep.
you can play as
Multiverses.
Shaggy Rogers and
Yep, you
kick
got,
Batman's ass.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny, Batman, Wonder Woman. What other characters? I think Finn and Jake are in there. Steven Universe.
From what I hear, this is gonna absolutely destroy Nick All-Stars because
Yeah.
it has voice acting in it, and
It looks like there's
a
more
lot of
effort.
a lot of
in.
stuff that Nick All-Stars was criticized for not having.
Real question is though, which one of them is gonna get Goku? Randall Park has been cast in a Netflix comedy series. It takes place inside the last blockbuster video in America, or as I like to call it, Netflix dangling the corpse of the enemies it has killed.
I did see a documentary on Netflix about the last blockbuster. It was
Yeah,
interesting.
Netflix just loves rubbing the salt in the wound. Yeah, you should have bought us out when we offered it first time, motherfucker.
You guys remember going to Blockbuster at all?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah, I remember going errands with my dad, and occasionally we'd stop there at the end.
Yeah, we went there for some more obscure stuff. Anytime we wanted to see something, but it wasn't at the library, that's when we went to the Blockbuster.
Yeah. All right, guys, I have a question for you. Have you ever wanted to smell like Sonic the Hedgehog?
I know where you're going with this.
What about Shenmue?
How the fuck do you smell
Yakuza?
like Shenmue?
I don't know.
Shenmue is just a regular dude. What?
I don't know. The point I'm getting at is that Sega has released colognes based on these franchises.
Hell yeah! As we all
For
know,
some
Sonic
reason.
fan. Yeah, no, that'd be helpful for Sonic fans because as we know, Sonic fans don't shower.
Now I can go
Hey.
fast and smell like ass.
I don't know. I saw this and I'm like, that's
Very
okay.
weird to have Yakuza themed cologne because the
Well, I mean,
Yakuza's
It
an
is
actual
popular
organization.
nowadays, right? People are
Yeah.
talking
oh yeah,
about
no,
Yakuza.
it's just it's funny just because like it's gonna be like you're gonna buy cologne just like the name Yakuza slapped on it. Like people who don't know about the games are just like, is this criminal organization themed? Like,
Smells like crime.
yeah.
I'm thinking I'm
And
a bad boy today.
yeah, Yakuza smells like crime. Shenmue smells like what's Shenmue about? Like this revenge story. So Shenmue smells like revenge. Yakuza smells like crime, and Sonic smells like teen spirit. Okay, so some stuff released this week. 30, the album by Adele. Tick Tick Boom, the Lin-Manuel directed movie that's adapting the play from the guy who made Rent about how he made Rent. Something related to Pokemon. What happened with Pokemon? Oh, the new Pokemon game. Duh. Yeah, new Pokemon
Yeah,
game came
that.
out. Remakes of Diamond and Pearl, which is basically the remakes of our generation of Pokemon. I did play
Well, it's a
Gen
remake of a
3
remake.
before. No, it's a remake of the games we grew up with. It's the
Diamond,
remake
Pearl,
of.
and Platinum. Well, I mean, Platinum doesn't have a remake, but you know what I mean.
Sorry, the way you worded it, it sounded like you were saying it was a remake of a remake.
No, it's a remake of the generation of Pokemon that was,
All right, it was
when
it was
we
a
were
it was
in
it
the
was a
Pokemon
misunderstanding
age
on my end.
demographic. Yeah.
And of course, it wouldn't be an episode if we didn't talk about Cowboy Bebop.
Well,
yeah. So a friend of
unfortunately, this
mine.
is the last time.
Unfortunately, yes. So anyway, so my friend, pirated it, so I just watched it with the first 3 episodes with him. Let's see, quick review. It has basically redoes a lot of famous Cowboy Bebop scenes, but worse. The episodes are just the episodes of the original series, except twice the length and stretched out. Third episode gets incredibly racist for no reason out of nowhere, and now I'm convinced that the only reason they made Jet Black was because they wanted to make him they want to make all these race jokes. Also, his name is Jet Black, so I just want to make it clear Jet Black is played by a black man in this thing. Also, about the casting, Jet Black is actually the best actor in the main cast. So, you know what? Like, fuck it. He did a good job. Good job there. Faye is horrible. Completely butchers the character and is just annoying on her own. All the humor is like, I would compare it to Joss Whedon, but it's like it's trying to be Joss Whedon, but it does it so much worse than Joss Whedon because Joss Whedon already did Cowboy Bebop with Firefly. The writing style here is like a bad episode of Community, so like season 4 Community. For some reason, it's written like an episode of Adventure Time where it's like they're clearly trying to curse, but they're like trying to censor it, even though like this is a film noir and is made for adults. Yet it seems like it's written for 12-year-olds. And I don't mean like in the negative sense. I mean literally, I think this show was written for 12-year-olds, which is weird because 12-year-olds watch anime, so I don't see why 12-year-olds wouldn't just watch the original series. So my guess is the target demographic is like older people. It's man children essentially, man children that don't like animation. That's what I'm guessing. There's nothing really redeeming about the show. It doesn't look good visually. It looks like high budget, but also like it was made by YouTubers. Ed in the show is literally a nostalgia critic bit, and it's shot like a nostalgia critic bit. Except I genuinely think that nostalgia critic would do it better because I know for a fact that Doug, 1, likes Cowboy Bebop, and 2, Ed is his favorite character, so I don't think he would butcher that. Although Ed did show up in To Boldly Flees, so yeah. Anyway, an inevitable nostalgia critic reference. Yeah, that's the thing we always talk about: nostalgia critic and Cowboy Bebop. Hell yeah.
And Sonic.
And we did all 3 this episode. Hell yeah. Great. So yeah, that's my review of Cowboy Bebop. 2 out of 10.
This
Do
is
not
the
recommend.
ultimate. This is the ultimate Always Sunny in Hollywood episode.
Yep. So anyway, 2 out of 10. Do not recommend. Only reason it's not a 1, is because pity. I don't know. Oh wait, one good thing about the live action Bebop. This is why I gave it 2 stars. It's because the music is good, but that's just because it's just the same music as the original show.
Is that it? Is that all
Yes.
you wanted to say? Okay.
All right, I think
All
we're
right.
done now.
Let's talk about Throne of Blood.
With Cowboy Bebop. Let's move on.
All right, so today's movie is Throne of Blood by the legendary Akira Kurosawa. Akira Kurosawa. I don't know why I mispronounced that. It's not a hard name to pronounce. Anyway, one of the greatest directors of all time. I'm a big fan of his. Incredibly influential. And by influential, like world cinema, he's inspired movies like Star Wars, the Fistful of Dollars trilogy. So, the good, bad, the ugly, all that kind of stuff. So, like, very important figure. And this movie is actually one of the few times where he didn't inspire someone else, but he was inspired. Although this movie did inspire other things. We'll get back to that. So this movie is an adaptation of Macbeth. It was originally planned on being made after his movie Rashomon, but it was delayed because Orson Welles happened to make an adaptation of Macbeth around the same time. And of course, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to just, adapt it again right after this other great director did. So, I'm going to wait a bit. So he waited about like 10 years. A little fun fact is that William Shakespeare's plays were read in Japan since Meiji Restoration in 1868, but they were banned during World War II for not being Japanese. Obviously, this movie came out like 15 years after World War II ended, so, but still, interesting fact. Kurosawa believed in Scotland, Japan in the Middle Ages shared a lot of social problems, hence why this is a samurai thing. And Macbeth could serve as like a cautionary tale to complement his 1952 film Ikaru. By the way, I've seen both Rashomon and Ikaru. They're probably my two favorite movies from him, so that's kind of funny. Originally, Kurosawa planned to only produce the film, and he wasn't going to direct it, but the production company noticed that the budget would be pretty high, so they're like, nah, we need like your talent on this to make sure it's fucking a success. And yeah, it was referenced in Millennium Actress, and funny enough, the ending of this movie inspired the ending of Carrie, specifically one section of the ending of Carrie. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, have any of you seen Carrie?
No.
I've read Carrie.
All right. Then I'm not going to say anything because I'm pretty sure what I'm talking about was like entirely a De Palma element he threw in. So like, I'm not sure if it's in the book. It was definitely a visual reference too. So yeah.
It's been years since I read it, so
yeah,
I don't remember.
So just watch the movie. Yeah. So the cast is I'll just say the two most important figures. The main character is played by Toshiro Mifune. A Kurosawa regular. He's like in all of Kurosawa's movies. Yeah, and then you got Takashi Shimura, who is also a Kurosawa regular. He was in main character of Ikaru and whatnot. So, all right, I've done none talking. What's your thoughts?
But we got to talk about the plot first.
It's Macbeth.
It's Macbeth. All right.
Yeah, for the two of you who don't know what Macbeth is all about.
All right. I'll describe the plot of this movie. So, basically, war going on. These two samurai, they get lost in this spiderweb forest, and they meet a fortune teller. Fortune teller's like, "You will become the ruler, and your son will become the ruler after him." Anyway, then we get they get promoted. There's like, oh shit, this prophecy is actually real. Then main character's wife, Lady Macbeth, is like, oh, can't trust this your homeboy. Fucking, can't trust the emperor, so kill him, and that'll fulfill the prophecy. You'll just automatically become it. And then he's like, all right, so I'm gonna name my homeboy's son as successor, just like the prophecy said. But then he got a kid, so he was like, shit, I want my kid to rule. So he tries to like defy the prophecy and kill his homeboy, and he succeeds in killing his friend and shit, and ultimately leads to his own downfall. Yada yada yada. It's a tragedy. You guys got the point, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about it. So.
All right.
General thoughts.
I'm just gonna start by saying that while I did enjoy this movie, I don't really have much to say about it. I mean, I got a few things, but overall, this is gonna be a short episode on my end.
Yeah, I'm a huge Kurosawa fan. I just want to see one of his samurai movies. I figured, hey, this is the one that's short and it's also about Macbeth. That might be something interesting. Yeah, I also don't have too much to say about it. out of the 5 Kurosawa movies I've seen, I think this is great. It's probably my least favorite. I don't know.
I think this was a nice change of pace from everything else we've been talking about thus far, at the very least.
Yeah, definitely that.
It's just that trying to digest foreign films is kind of hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely will sometimes pause a movie just so I could rewind and reread some stuff.
That, and when it's based off a story that we've likely read before, it's really hard to come up with anything new.
Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna say. This movie in particular, I can definitely see how influential it was to something like, say, Star Wars. Now, The Hidden Fortress is a specific movie that inspired Star Wars, but just filmmaking-wise, Akira Kurosawa obviously influenced Star Wars.
Well, Star Wars was inspired by a lot of samurai and Western films.
No, like, it was specifically inspired by this guy's samurai movies. As in, the original Star Wars is a direct remake of one of his movies, and obviously, this movie, filming-wise, I think shares a lot of things. You notice a lot of like the wide shots and the way some of the shots were composed. I thought it was kind of similar to Star Wars, and obviously it has the wipe transitions. You guys saw that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this director must be a fan of the wipe transition.
Interestingly enough, his other movies didn't have them as much as this, but yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess he decided he's gonna save it all for one specific movie, and this was it.
Yeah.
Okay, no, there was one like Fade to Black shot I noticed.
Yeah, let's see. The acting I thought was pretty.
Oh yeah. The guy who Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, they were both great.
Yeah, so
I can't really
Kojiro
say about
Mifune.
much of the acting from my end, but given that it's a foreign language that I'm not familiar with, everyone just sounded pissed off all the time. Specifically the main character.
I mean, he was pissed off the whole time. But yeah, I thought the acting was pretty good. It's got reminds me of like some old Hollywood movies where it's kind of have the exaggerated theatric element to it, but for some reason it just clicks with me more than actual old Hollywood stuff. Because like I watch stuff like Sunset Boulevard, I'm like, I think the exaggeration kind of got on my nerves there. But here, I thought it worked, especially because it's Shakespeare and an operatic, so the exaggerated delivery works better for a story like this.
One thing I do love about like black and white movies is that there appears to be a lot more emphasis on facial expression, or at the very least, like I focus more on the facial expressions.
Yeah.
Black and white movies, and this definitely has that.
Yeah, this movie is really like beautiful looking.
Even though it's not in color. That's the amazing thing.
It's good because of it, almost because it's not in color. Like the way the whites were, like the smoke scenes. I really loved all the scenes with smoke in it. Those were so good. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
the old guy in the forest, or the spirit.
Yeah, just the pure white and stuff. The white was like really well done here.
Overall, this is like a pretty accurate adaptation from what I remember of Macbeth. You got the prophecy, the blood on the hands, seeing the ghost, the trees moving. This is, it's all there and accounted for.
Yeah. I was impressed by
creative liberties, but overall, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah. I was impressed by the ending, with all the arrows, because apparently they actually had to do that. They're like, that got intense. Yeah. No, they like actually shot arrows at the dude. I'm like, damn.
That's fucking terrifying.
He's like climbing up the ladder and like running. He's got like arrows like in his leg, in his arm, and his back.
And going back to the whole facial expressions, bringing this movie to life. Yeah, his fear every time the arrows just like come like right at him. I imagine that's real fear, considering that they had to actually fire those at him.
And then the arrow through the neck. Oh my god.
Yeah.
This movie wasn't really particularly violent.
No, so, which is why this got such a reaction out of me.
Yeah.
That, and also a lot of the scenes that have death in them, we don't get to see murder happen. Like when the main character, I don't know names, but the main character hires somebody to kill his friend. He just brings back the head. We don't see it happen. We just see the guy bring back his head.
Yeah, we don't even see the head because like the dude's just like, don't show it to me.
It's just implied.
What I find interesting is the few changes that this movie made to the Macbeth story were so popular that subsequent adaptations also made those changes.
How so?
As in well, apparently Roman Polanski's take on Macbeth and the recent adaptation of Macbeth that the Coens made, people both pointed out that they lifted some elements from Throne of Blood. I was like, huh, that's kind of funny. You know that
What elements were lifted?
Well, apparently for the Coen one, they drew some inspiration for the ending. I have not. That movie obviously hasn't come out yet for general public, so I don't know exactly what was done there. Apparently, Polanski's version, in some shots, characters on like Twisted Road set designs and music were like the same. So like similar set design and music choices and yeah. Speaking of the music, what'd you think of the music?
A lot
It
of this
hurt my
movie,
ears. Like
a
when they
lot of
play
this
the flute
movie was.
really hard, that kind of hurt.
All right.
I noticed a lot of scenes were pretty silent. Like one of my favorite scenes is actually when they actually commit like the murder. Like that is like a completely dialogueless scene. There's no music. At least I don't
Yeah.
think there was music.
Yeah,
That
there
was
wasn't.
probably my favorite scene. That was great.
I thought the few bits of comedy were kind of funny. Like I thought it was funny when like they first got promoted, and like when you see them walking, you see those facial expressions. That just cracked me up. Then be like, "Oh shit, I think that prophecy might have been real."
Yeah.
That was just funny to me.
If I can get into criticisms for a second, I
Yeah,
only have
go
two
ahead.
things. I don't know about you. Did you guys feel like some scenes and shots kind of felt a bit long?
Yeah, when
Definitely.
they were riding on their horses through the thick fog, that was
Yeah, that
like
went on for like
almost
2
a minute.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't like bother me as much though. That's also clearly something that influenced other movies. Obviously, if you've seen Sergio Leone's movies, westerns that drew inspiration from, they really like these long shots,
hmm
So that's obviously an element that was probably lifted from his style.
There
But
was that, and there was also like a 4-minute scene of them carrying a casket into the fortress.
I don't know. I didn't mind it as much just because I kind of liked the sort of slow build up and tension some of the scenes had, and also just it was really well shot, so it was just like nice to look at.
I'm
Fair
not
enough.
saying I'm not saying it bothered me. I'm just saying I'm
Yeah,
like
I know, no, I get it. I get
this feels like it's going a bit longer than it needs to.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
They definitely
there were a
held
few
on it
moments.
for quite a bit of time.
There's also one shot I don't understand it. It's like near the beginning of the movie. There's this guy on a horse that like he's at like the fortress, but then he runs back. But then he turns around and joins other men and their horses walking in the direction he just came from. Do you guys know what shot I'm talking about?
No, I forgot it.
Oh.
Mm,
Well, I don't know. I didn't understand like the significance of that shot. 'Cause, like, he
Symbolism.
just
Could you
came from that
repeat the shot?
direction. Why is what?
Could you repeat what shot you're talking about?
It's near the beginning of the movie. There's this like guard or somebody like on a horse explaining like something to Macbeth at the fortress, and then he turns around to like run back, and it's like a wide shot on a field of like some more people on horses and like some people like dealing with crops, and then the guy running back turns around like to join the other people on their horses, but they're walking in the direction he was coming from. Difficult to explain.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I tried.
All right.
My only other criticism is that this is very minor, but I did notice a few technical hiccups, like the music cut out awkwardly during one scene, and
Yeah.
there were a few close-up shots that were out of focus.
Yeah, that was
like,
more
it's-
of a product of its time rather than.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I did notice it, but again, it's not like it actively.
It's
bothered
not a
me,
deal
it's just something-
breaker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like these two things. They're just things I noticed. They didn't like ruin the experience or anything.
Yeah. Overall, good movie. Holds up for the most part. I'd recommend it. I'd give it like I don't know, 8 out of 10.
I'd give this a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'd agree with you guys. I enjoyed this one. I don't know if I'd ever go back to watch it again myself, but I am definitely glad that I saw it.
I'd have to be in a very specific mood if I want to watch this again. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
This isn't one of Kurosawa's like more famous movies. Like when most people talk about his samurai movies, they're thinking, Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, or Ran. Those are like the three big samurai movies. I just picked this one because I figured, again, it was short. Seven Samurai is like over 3 hours long. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to watch that. Ran is like 3 hours long. I'm like, nah. And Yojimbo, I'm like, if I want to talk about Yojimbo, I want to talk about it with a fistful of dollars because because of like the infamous relationship between this. But Throne of Blood, I was like, yeah, Macbeth, whatever. We can just talk about it like not so. So yeah, that was why I picked that.
Yeah. We have no time at the moment for double features, so
Yeah, so this was
good
just
call.
sort of a yeah. And again, I am not familiar with Kurosawa's samurai work because for some reason I've only really seen his non-samurai stuff, except Rashomon, but that's not really a samurai movie. That's more just a crime thriller that happens to be in samurai period. Anyway, if you like this movie, some other movies you can check out is obviously the 3 other adaptations of Macbeth I mentioned, the one by Orson Welles, the Coens, and Polanski. They're all incredibly prolific directors. So it'd just be neat to see this classic story done in, their own different versions of it. Obviously you can check other Shakespeare adaptations like Hamlet. Fuck it, just watch The Lion King. Why not? If I was going to recommend one specific Kurosawa samurai movie, I would recommend Ran because Ran is considered like it's one of his later works, so it's super refined filmmaking wise. It's probably the one that holds up like one of the most from a filmmaking perspective. It's in color, but also it's an adaptation of King Lear, which is another Shakespeare deal. And it's more popular than Throne of Blood, so I found it funny that he took one of the lesser popular Shakespeare plays and seemed to elevate it. So yeah, yeah, that one came out in '85, so that was like 30 years after this. So he definitely improved greatly since then. Obviously, I'd recommend Sergio Leone westerns like The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and Once Upon a Time in the West.
Anyway, Lugia, you're up.
It's your turn, I think. Yeah.
Okay. I've been trying to give this some thought. Thanksgiving is literally tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanksgiving.
So I was thinking about doing a Thanksgiving movie, but I also want to be weird and not do one at the same time. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, you recommended a Spider-Man movie before, and that's Thanksgiving, so...
Well, why? Do you have, like, 2 things in mind?
Yeah, why don't you just give us the options, and we'll pick.
Okay. I was thinking about doing Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's been a while since I saw that movie, and like you said, that is kind of Thanksgiving related.
Yeah, and I don't think we've done a Wes movie yet.
And
we've done Wes Craven, but not Wes Anderson.
The other movie is completely unrelated in no way, shape, and form. But we've never done a Nick Cage movie yet, so fuck it, Vampire's Kiss.
Ooh,
So I've seen both movies before.
Honestly, my vote goes for Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, of course.
Mine honestly goes for Vampire's Kiss. Although, you know what? I'll say Fantastic Mr. Fox just because I feel like Vampire's Kiss would make like a really interesting double feature with American Psycho. And they're like pretty different movies, but also pretty similar movies. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I would say Fantastic Mr. Fox.
All right,
rad.
It has been years since I've seen this movie.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it too. But...
I saw it like not earlier this year, but I saw it within the last year, I think. So, but yeah, it'd be cool.
Nice.
It's my favorite Wes Anderson movie, so that's gonna be neat.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Fantastic Mr. Fox a couple days ago, and I was thinking like, maybe I should do it, but at the same time, funny Nick Cage memes.
Yeah, and Wes Anderson's newest movie just came out, which
French Dispatch.
Yeah. Okay. Last time I saw this movie was January 15th, 2021, so about 11 months ago. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Wes's movies. The only ones I haven't seen are his most recent one, and the 2 that are apparently his lesser popular movies, so that'll be interesting. Yeah, cool. Wes Anderson, first one of that. I find it interesting how you seem to pick a lot of really super stylized directors now that I think about it. Because like Edgar Wright and Sam Raimi, the prophecy foretold that you will have a good Thanksgiving.
Aw, wholesome.